Greetings, everyone. Time for the last part of my 2019 State Convention series, or I should say, second to last part, because I still have another piece to go for analysis on the vice chair race. But what I'm going to discuss now is the final portion of the annual state convention meeting, and that is the executive committee meeting. This meeting is one that you always hope and pray is going to happen, because there have been concerns going back to 2014 of that will quorum be made, and how long can you hold quorum, and how long will people actually want to stay in the meeting. Because remember, this is Sunday midday. A lot of people have traveled out several hours to get to the convention, and now they want to just go home. Okay, so that could be a concern. This year, I was very concerned because the executive committee meeting was not scheduled to start until noon. Okay, and actually the official call to order of this meeting was 25 minutes late. Okay, so yeah, I was very concerned we would not have quorum, but we did. And this meeting, it clocked in at, what was the run time? It clocked in at an hour and 37 minutes. And I gotta tell you, this was probably the most productive hour, 37-minute meeting that I've been to ever since I started going to NCGOP meetings back in 2012 was my first executive committee meeting. So this room, I've noticed a pattern since I've been back in North Carolina. The executive committee meeting, either the room is way too small or it's way too big. It's like big, small, big, small. It's like that whole thing they used to do on Sesame Street. Big, small, big, small. Right. And I tell you, this room in 2018 at Hickory, the EC meeting was very small. This meeting was very large, and then the meeting that we had this past December of 19, the room was again very small. So it's like big, small, big, small, big, small. It's like whoever picks these meeting spots is like, I don't know, drinking too much Mountain Dew or something. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, this room was very big, and I mean, I should have taken a nap at the meeting, because I always get to these meetings like 20 or 30 minutes before they start, because that gives me a chance to review the agenda, the minutes of the last meeting, really get myself in meeting mode. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I could have taken like a 45-minute nap, and there was nobody in my row. I had my own row the whole time of the meeting. So yeah, I could have laid down the row of chairs there in the meeting room. You know, and it was weird because Saturday at the convention, the room was way too small and it was way too hot. But today it was like very big and very comfy. Okay. So anyway, the newly elected chairman, Michael Watley, opened the meeting with the usual electoral priorities. Got to do this in 2019, this in 2020. Okay. And his very first, Michael Watley's very first accomplishment as chair was he named the guy he just squeaked by in the election the previous day, Jim Womack. Michael Watley named Jim Womack to the head of the voter outreach program. So that was definitely a very good, strong showing of party unity there. Because in the past, we've had these inter-party elections. It's been very, very hard to accomplish unity. So my hat's off to Michael Watley on that move. And of course, he appoints Billy Miller as convention chairman, or meeting chairman, I should say. Billy used to, well, ever since I've been going to conventions from 2011, since 2011, Billy Miller has always been the convention chair Friday and Saturday, but then Sunday he has a church in Charlotte that he always preaches at. Now, as far as I know, he still to this day is preacher of that church, but the last 2 years now, Billy Miller has been the chairman for all 3 days of the convention, which is a good thing. It's good to have that continuity and being able to know, how Billy is, in a convention entire weekend. Because previously you had Billy for 2 days, then you had David Lewis, representative of Harnett County, for the third day, and sometimes the third day ran better, sometimes it ran worse, but you never knew because you had two different chairman personalities in play. So, Vice Chairman Chu, she gave a very brief report. Just said, basically the same thing as Watley said. Just said, look, I'm going to make this very brief so we can all get out of here today. RNC Committeewoman Ada Fisher says the party remember, she said the party is not supposed to endorse in primaries. This is our party, not the chairman's party. She said there's been a lot of people in the party who have already endorsed Donald Trump for a second term as president, even before the primary started, and also a lot of people who have endorsed Dan Forrest for governor, even though before the primary has started. Let's see, RNC committeeman didn't really have a whole lot of interesting things to say. I left that blank in my notes. General Counsel John Lewis, yes, the same John Lewis who got beaten pretty badly in the chairman's race yesterday. I think he only won like 1 or 2 counties out of 100. That's how bad he lost. But he is still the general counsel for the party. Chris Anglin, the phony plant Republican who ran against Barbara Jackson and Anita Earls in the Supreme Court race last year that cost us that Supreme Court seat. Well, the lawsuit between him and the party has been dismissed. And Assistant Treasurer Zach Krotz, C-R-O-T-T-S, not Crotch, okay, Krotz, got it? Mr. Zach is encouraging 100 every executive committee member to contribute the $120 a year or $10 a month for 12 months as the quote-unquote fee. How do I feel about this? Well, look, there are people in the party who can give money, and that's a good thing. But there are also people who are a lot more blue collar and can't really. I mean, $10 a month is not all that much, but still, there's people in the party who would rather give time to the party. Okay. So I'm glad the state party is just saying, look, we're suggesting a contribution of $10 a month, but we're not going to kick you off the executive committee if you don't give. Okay, so I mean, I think yours truly just hopes that the state party maybe will announce it every now and then, but just don't try to be too pushy. Okay. After all, this is a volunteer position, the executive committee. I'm not getting paid to be executive committee member, and the party is not reimbursing my gas or hotel expenses, that is for sure, or my meals either. Okay, and Jim Womack, our buddy Jim Womack, who unfortunately lost in the chairman's race. It was a very bitter, close defeat, too. But Mr. Womack said, when is this body going to have an actual treasurer? Very good question. And, of course, Dallas Woodhouse, he had to make his presence known at this meeting. Well, Dallas Woodhouse said, this event cost us six figures. It takes several days for the checks to clear, but he did say that there will be a treasurer report by the next EC meeting on October 5th. Now that meeting actually got pushed back to December 7th, but still I'm happy to say that there was a budget and treasurer's report presented at that meeting. Let's see. Then Mr. Zach Krotz said the party owes nothing, has no debt. And also, last minute registration was very strong, which was good for the party's coffers, but was also very bad for those of us who actually registered early, to the convention, and it got so overcrowded on Saturday. I still hope the party puts in a registration deadline for the convention so we don't have this cluster mess that we had at the 2019 convention. I mean, really. Okay, Will Connect of New Hanover County said a consistent financial statement is best. Michael Watley, chairman, said, look, you hit the nail right on the head, Mr. Connect. That's Dallas Woodhouse again said, how many people here are first-time EC members? And a lot of hands went up. Woodhouse also said there's 600 people that cycle in and out every 2 years on the executive committee. And I'm sure that in 2020 with the whole redistricting, redistricting, whatever you call it, complexity, you're gonna have a lot of members cycling in and out even this year too. And he says 120 is the tax for your roles as executive committee members, but there is no punishment for non-payment. And Dallas Woodhouse then said he voted for John Lewis for chairman. Thanks for letting us know, Dallas. Really? And this was because of a late night delegates strategy session. Dallas Woodhouse continued to prop up Mr. Lewis, said he earned this job. Sarah Reedy Jones lost by a handful of votes in 2016. Miriam Chu, who was running for RNC committee woman at the time, lost by only 3 votes versus the incumbent Ada Fisher. But Dallas Woodhouse did say, hey, today's defeat is tomorrow's victory. Woodhouse would also like to see the plan of organization change to where the vice chair is elected before the chairman. Okay, now when you first think of this, I think it's a good idea because it keeps, everybody wants to vote for the chair of the party, right? But not very many people are excited about voting for the number 2, right? So you vote for the vice chair first. You keep everybody there, all the delegates there, engaged in the process. Then you move on and vote for the chairman. Okay, so at the surface, this is a good idea by Dallas Woodhouse. And Woodhouse is not a guy I agree with a lot of times. However, I wonder, the Cave of Wonders on Aladdin. Remember that? The Cave of Wonders. Seriously, I wonder if this is a move by Dallas Woodhouse that is being designed to protect establishment people in the party, such as Sarah Reedy Jones. Okay, so think about that. Let me know. Then Dallas Woodhouse continued with his little spiel and said, I helped Americans' prosperity in Wilmington. They have great infrastructure. He believes the newly elected chairman Will Connect can fix the turmoil within the New Hanover GOP. There were big losses. Trump lost votes in 2016, despite still winning the county, I should say. But Pat McCrory lost the county, though, to Cooper. Some of that is weak leadership at the time in the New Hanover GOP, but also some of that is due to the film incentives issue as well. I will say as a shout out to Will Connect that he has done a very good job in his year, close to a year now as chair. He's put out a lot of YouTube videos, a lot shorter than mine. And this year, I'm very pleased to tell you that he has moved the convention from landfall back to the county courthouse, and even better, the convention will be on a Saturday morning and not a weekday evening at 6 o'clock when everybody's trying to beat the huge amount of rush hour traffic on Military Cutoff Road in order to get the convention venue. This will be on a Saturday morning, 9 or 10 in the morning. Very good central location, very convenient to everybody in the county. Even more so convenient to Brunswick and Pender. If anybody in the region wants to go, please do. I believe it's March 21st this year. Okay. Platform Committee. The goal of the Platform Committee is to try and shrink the platform, but yet make it more succinct with what we are trying to say as a party. The preamble of the platform is like the hook. You know, people can read it and be done with it and not people can read it and not read any further because they already know what the party stands for in that preamble. It's like a mission statement of a company, I guess you could say. Lee Haywood made a point of information at this time, said, will resolutions be heard today? And right now that motion was out of order, but as soon as the credentials are adopted, then the motion will be in order. The credentials report said that there were 498 people registered to attend this meeting, and there are currently 181 executive committee members on the floor. The quorum for today's meeting is going to be 125. 25% of all registered people at the meeting, I think is what they go by. Not really sure on that, but maybe next year I will be. Okay, Leanne Patton then said there's a wreck on I-77. What else is new? A member just arrived named Mrs. Sullivan. Guy Smith said the 4th District Chair of Wake County arrived late, but his he was approved as a member of the executive committee. Okay. And then there was a motion to suspend rules to elect officers as a slate. And this this was approved. Russ Ferguson, Wake County, as the new legal counsel. Steve Lamb of Wake County as assistant legal counsel. Buck Newton of Wilson County, treasurer. Zach Kratz, assistant treasurer of Davidson County. Scott Cumby of Forsyth County for secretary, and assistant secretary Michelle Nix of Lenoir County. However, there was a challenge to the slate by our buddy Jim Womack, and it was a challenge which I supported. Jim Womack wanted to replace Zach Kratz with Keith Kidwell in the assistant treasurer role. Now, I have no problem with this move. Zach Kratz has been is a nice guy, just a couple years older than me. However, there have been some questions, some things I've heard around the party that maybe he's more committed to his real estate business than the state party. Keith Kidwell is has his own tax agency. I believe he's a licensed CPA in the Washington Chocowitney metro area. Not a metro area, it's a very small town, Washington and Chocowitney, there in Beaufort County. So I had no problem with this move. Unfortunately, only about 10 of us said, yay, we want to replace Kratz with Kidwell. And there are 490 other people in the room that said no. So it failed. But Michael Watley did make 2 additions to his cabinet, and they were Kate Kennedy, Finance Chair from Wake County, and Assistant Finance Chair Tina Forsberg, our sister buddy from Guilford County. Then a point of information was made by Ada Fisher. Says a confidentiality agreement should be put into place with the all the executive committee officers. And then there was a motion to approve all 5 of the resolutions from the convention business session by Lee Haywood, our buddy Lee Haywood, I should say. He said the resolutions are not controversial, and we most definitely need to support Dale Falwell. Pat Carr said Resolution 3, they need to change the source from 9th Congressional District to the NCGOP. And then a point of information was done by Roger Farina. I want to know how many counties and districts submitted the pro-life amendment, because he said there were 2 different pro-life amendments that were submitted to the resolutions committee, and there were 5 congressional districts that submitted the pro-life amendment and got it approved by the state resolutions committee. And they are the 1st district, the 5th district, the 6th district, the 7th district, and the 8th district. Waddy Davis from Orange County had a resolution on anti-Semitism he wanted to bring to the floor, but it was ruled out of order. But there was an amendment that was made to change the resolution from Republicans of Orange County to the NCGOP Executive Committee. However, that was ruled out of order. So, the resolution on anti-Semitism is a very good one. However, for some reason, it was passed in Orange County. Then it was passed at the district convention. I think Orange is in the 4th district. And then it automatically went to consideration at the state resolutions committee, but for some reason was turned down. So the only way that Mr. Davis could get the resolution through now is he had to submit 1,000 copies on the floor of the convention or the executive committee members, and then have the resolution be voted. Then there would be a motion. A motion would have to be made. A yes vote would have to be made by at least 2/3 of the convention body in order to get this resolution just to have it heard. I mean, not only just passed, but just heard first. And Waddy Davis did not use that channel, so that's why this resolution, although very well written, was not considered and was ruled out of order at the executive committee meeting. Okay. Then we had a motion to approve the minutes from the last, the last executive committee meeting in February 2019. This motion was made by Kim Cotton West of Washington County. Ada Fisher and they were approved, and then Ada Fisher made a motion to have the platform approved as presented. This also passed, Lynette Ramsey of Caldwell County asked what was taken out of the platform. There was a vote out to opposition to gambling from the platform, opposition to Common Core because it's being sneaked in through different names. Point information was made regarding opportunity scholarships. That was moved to the end of section 4. Okay. Then the platform was allowed to be approved as presented. Michael Lyons made a motion to allow resolutions to be printed on letterhead. This was made out of order because the platform was, still being debated at that time. Article 9, Section 1, protect. There's a wording change from protect to wisely use. Okay, and then Michael Lyons went back to his motion to have resolutions published on signed letterhead and posted on the website. This motion passed, as well as a motion to have a better way to vote on officer election. That also passed. Our sister buddy, Zane Bunn, wanted to make a point of personal privilege for all of the executive committee members to be able to see the finances of the party if they choose. Zach Krotz then said a balance sheet and budget that goes through the end of May 2019 will be available at the back of the room as soon as possible. Mark Jones of Surrey County said that the party should always find a place that doesn't restrict our Second Amendment rights. He was very pleased that the convention committee decided that the Embassy Suites Concord did not infringe on the Second Amendment rights. Honestly, in my opinion, look, I support the Second Amendment, but stuff like this, oh, we have to have a convention in a building that is pro Second Amendment, I'm like, look, if there's a tiny if there's two buildings in a small town, you want to have a convention, are you going to go with the tiny building that's pro Second Amendment, or are you going to go with the big building that says no guns on premises? Think about this. Yeah, I would actually go with the big building that says no guns on premises. I mean, some people are just so wacko-birdish on the gun issue. I just don't understand, It's, Anyway. And finally, we had a point of personal privilege from Dr. Ada Fisher. She said this has been the best run EC meeting in her 12 years as serving as RNC committee woman, and she says we've actually gotten stuff done today. She says in the past these EC meetings have just been nothing but debate, nothing get done. But today she said has been a lot of things gotten done, and we adjourned at 2:02 p.m. for this executive committee meeting. One more thing I'll say is that at the 2019 convention, I did something new to my convention schedule that I had done before, and that was actually to actually stay an extra night in the hotel. So I stayed an extra off. This was at a Red Roof Inn, 10 miles down the road towards Charlotte. Embassy Suites is so expensive, but I decided to stay Sunday night still at the near the convention site, because in years past, I would leave right after the EC meeting, but I still felt that I still felt kind of unfulfilled, because if you drive Sunday, Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of other traffic on the road, and a lot of that stress, and there's not really a whole lot of transition time from going from a convention meeting situation back to your real world life kind of thing, right? But in 2019, I decided to go ahead and stay the extra night in the hotel. I think I went to KFC, got myself, a bucket of chicken, the meal deal things or whatever you call it, and just relax, and do that. And then the next day, around, after rush hour passes, obviously in Charlotte, around 10 o'clock or so, go back home, and then go back to work on Tuesday, and so I think it is, personally, really important to have transition time from, getting off work and going to convention, and then leaving the convention and going back to work. So like I'll stop working Wednesday before convention, right? And then I'll arrive Thursday. I'll start driving on Thursday and get to my hotel Thursday night, get registered Thursday afternoon, then be able to really put myself in that convention mode Friday, be able to hit the ground running, boom, go right to convention. Some people just, for some reason, they don't really give themselves a transition zone. And I think that's a big mistake, because I think in order to really enjoy the convention, you really need the transition zones. You need that extra day or two tagged on to the convention weekend in order to enjoy the convention. So many people, they leave, or they'll even go to work at their job Friday morning, right? And then get off at put in 2 or 3 hours work, leave at 11, rush to the convention site, and they'll miss half of Friday's business session, and then by then the convention's halfway over already. It's crazy. Or there'll be those that'll leave Friday morning, and then they'll have to go through registration, they'll have to go do their hotel registration, and then try to sit down and enjoy the business session. And I'm like, that's just seems so rushed. So again, my tip for convention is always take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. Okay? If you try to go to work Monday, the day after convention, your brain is still going to be fried. At least it is for me. I need that extra day, 24, 36, 48 hours at the end of convention to recuperate. And then I also need that day before the convention to get my mind clear of work stress and get my brain into the convention. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my coverage of the 2019 North Carolina Republican Party Convention, and I will certainly be covering the 2020 convention as well, and the year after that, and the year after that, and Lord willing, 5, 10 years, 25 years after that too. I'll be covering them all, hopefully. For the Conservative Pelican, I am Bobby Crawford. Take care.